In this part of the lesson, we're going to learn about standard form. Ax plus by equals c. Notice that my x and y are on the left side and my constant is on the right. Sometimes this is called general form. Standard form is useful for certain types of word problems as well as to identifying the x and y intercepts. One note is that when you write an equation in standard form, that a and b must be integers. So make sure that your A and your B in your equation are not fractions. If they are, we will take care of those. Here we have a line that passes through -1, 2 and 4, 3. We've been asked to write it in standard form. So the first thing we're going to do is, since we don't know the y-intercept, we're going to use point slope because we have a point and we can find the slope because we have 2 points. So we're going to say 3 minus 2, 4 minus -1 to get our slope. So our slope is 1/5. Now I'm just going to use this first point for point slope. And here's a reminder of formula for point slope. We have y minus my y1 value equals my slope 1/5 times x minus -1. Once we clean up some of these negatives, we will have point slope form. Now, to get to standard form, I'm going to go ahead and distribute, just like if we were converting to slope intercept form. Let's distribute the 1/5. And now we need to get this x term on the left and this -2 on the right. But before we move on, I really don't want to work with these fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 5 because our denominators both divide into 5 nicely. So once we multiply this out, that will cancel out these denominators. So I'm going to have 5y minus 10 is equal to 1x plus 1. I can subtract my x. I can add my 10. And we have standard form. My a is -1 and my b is 5, which are integers. Now, some folks request that your leading coefficient be positive. If that's the case, we're going to negate every term and create an equivalent equation. Both of these are equivalent. Both are in standard form for the line that passes through -1, 2 and 4, 3. Here we have an equation that we need to put in standard form. I can see that already I'm starting out with fractions. We don't want to work with fractions if we can help it. So I am going to multiply this equation by 15 because both 3 and 5 can divide into 15 and we will no longer have fractions. So when I multiply 15 times y over 3, let's work that out. I can see that the 3 divides into the 15, 5, and then 5 times y is 5y. Then we have 2/5 x being multiplied by 15. Again, 5 goes into 15, 3, and 3 times 2x is 6x, and then 15 times -1 is -15. Now we just need to subtract our 6x, and we have -6x plus 5y equals -15, standard form. -6 and 5, our a and b are integers. If you're asked to not have a leading coefficient be negative, we will negate each term and have an equivalent equation. Here's another example. Let's get rid of our fractions. We're going to multiply the entire equation by 6. 3 and 2 can both divide into 6. So when I have 6 times 2/3 y, this is going to give me 3 goes in 6 2 times, and 2 times 2y is 4y equals, let's erase this, not make it messy. Then we have 1/2, so we have 6 times 1/2 x, and 2 goes into 6, 3, and 3 times 1x is 3x plus 6. So make sure you distribute the 6 to every term, making an equivalent equation. So I'm just going to subtract 3x from both sides. And now we have standard form. We have integers for a and b. If I needed to negate to have a positive leading coefficient, I will get this equation. Okay, horizontal lines. Remember, horizontal lines are lines that run from left to right. They have a slope of 0, so my slope would be 0 because there's no horizontal change. And it's just, or there's no vertical change, I should say. It is just going steady from left to right. It is staying constant. So if we have an example, it says find the equation of a line that passes through the points 1, 4, and 6, 4. If we didn't notice that both my y1 and y2 are both 4, and we found the slope, we would see that we would have 4 minus 4 over 6 minus 1, giving me 0 over 5, which is 0. Now, anytime that you see that your slope is 0, a big flag needs to go off reminding you that, hey, the line that it has a slope of 0 is the horizontal line, and it's y equals whatever the y value is. In this case, the y value is 4. So my equation is simply y equals 4. If we wrote our slope of 0, so 0 times x plus 4, we can see that the reason we simplify it to this equation is because 0 times anything, even a variable, is nothing. So we end up with just y equals 4. Find the slope of a horizontal line that passes through point -4, -8. It's just asking for the slope. So if we see horizontal line, we should say slope is 0. Now let's go ahead and write the equation. If it passes through -4, -8, my equation is going to be simply y equals -8. So that means, so if we have -4 and then -8, that means that all of these ordered pairs will be -8. This would be 0, comma, -8. This could be 5, and then we go down, 5, comma, -8. So you can see all the y values, y equals -8. Now our vertical lines are undefined. They have a vertical change, but they don't have a horizontal change. They're not changing from left to right. Vertical lines, you need to jot this down. Vertical lines never contain a y value. It is simply going to be something as x equals some number such as 4. We have a slope that is undefined, and we do not have a y in our equation. So if we want to find the equation of a line that passes through the points 7, 2 and 7, -5, and we did not recognize that these x's are repeating, meaning it's not a function, therefore it's that vertical line. As you recall, all lines are functions except the vertical line because it doesn't pass the vertical line test. So if we were to graph these and go over 7 and down 5, and then go over 7 and up 2, and we create that vertical line, and you can see it doesn't pass the vertical line test. But if we were to continue and didn't recognize this, hopefully you could recognize it once you find slope, because as you can see, we're going to get a 0 in the denominator, which is undefined. We cannot have a 0 in the denominator. So our equation is simply x equals 7 because my x values are 7. It says find the slope of a vertical line that passes through 8, 2. So I would say my slope is undefined. And don't write 0 because 0 is a value. Undefined is what you would write. If we were asked to write the equation, it's going to be x equals 8.